Hello, my name is Charles Frazier and welcome to my garden. Now today is the first day of February and now it is a cold, brisk 36 degrees outside. So that is why I am taping this on the inside today. Of course, the weather in February, we usually get a mixed bag. I mean, we can have rain, we can have sleet, we can have snow. We will have some frigid temperatures in the month of February. For instance, I think maybe next week we are going to be in our teens, which that means that is not good gardening weather at all. But as we think of outside, there are things, as you have heard me speak of in other gardening segments, about what we can do outside. Now, yes, you can go out and be cleaning your garden off because it is a good time to clean things off. Also, it is also a good time if you're wanting to put down some organic matter, such as the manures. Like right now, we're in February, March, April, May. You've got a good 4 months before really we're going to be doing anything active in the garden of success and various things. Doesn't mean we can't start something in April. Of course, like I say, someone was asking me this past weekend, when do you get your first gardening things out? Well, there's some things I put out on Tater Day. I mean, that's just a day that if the weather permitting, I like to do that. But as you will know, that is early. That is even before the frost deadline. So if we wait until May, many gardeners will be much better off the longer that you wait, get into the third week of May. So you still have time for that organic matter to decompose a little bit. You can work that, if you have a small gardening space, you can work that into the soil. But there are a lot of things that you can do right now. First off, review your notes from last year, if you have written them down. Now, if you're like me, you'll say, well, I'm going to put that up here. Well, there's a lot of things up here that I cannot find anymore. But go back and review your notes. If you can remember what happened last year, go ahead and write those things down, because as you begin to make the plan for the new year. And let me tell you, with the gardening season, what has the pandemic done for us? Well, the pandemic has caused a lot of people to go back and buy a gardening seed and begin raising their own vegetables and things. And I'm very, very excited about seeing that now there is a great interest of raising your own food. So, with that in mind, comes some planning. There's some things you're going to need. You're going to need seed. And if you gardened last year, inventory the seed that you have so that you know. Secondly, look for the new seed. And may I say, with the higher interest of gardening this year, some seed suppliers probably will be running out at some particular point in time. So, if you can order that, you may want to go ahead and be placing your orders in. I've already received some of my gardening seed for this coming year. But then also the local places that you purchase, I noticed the other day, some of them, their gardening seed, they're starting to stock their shelves with their summer gardening seed. So go in and check in, because through this month, they're going to be loading their shelves up with gardening seeds. So go ahead and purchase what that you think you're going to need for this coming year. But then also, there's some other things. I don't know if you're like me. Sometimes I will go pick up something, get back home, and realize I need something else. That's why it's always good to make that list. We're going to be talking about other things in making that list and getting ourselves prepared. So as we get into our segment, we'll be sharing those things. Like I said earlier, we're kind of on the inside right now, and there's not a whole lot that we can do on the outside, like planting seeds and some other things, but you can be planting some seeds. You can be planting some seeds on the inside right now. Now, you're going to see here today, I have a grow light, and this grow light is helping me to grow some things on the inside. And you can already see that I have planted some Bravo cabbage. Now, this is the first day of February. Now, 2020 is gone, and may I say thank the Lord that 2020 is gone. I'm ready to move into 2021 as we're moving beyond the pandemic, even though we're still dealing with that of COVID. But December 30th, I planted these seeds, and here in a few moments I'm going to show you what I did, and we'll go through that step-by-step process of planting those seeds. Wintertime, it's cold, it's dark, we don't get a whole lot of sunshine, and so I always need something to do in that of the winter time. So I wanted to plant these seeds. Now, notice here, this is a grow light, and may I say, these grow lights work very well. I have about 2 or 3 different sizes of these grow lights. Now, this particular grow light was given to me last year. I had another gardener said, hey, says, you know what, I'm not really using this grow light, and would you use it? I say, yes, indeed, I would love to. And I like the size of this grow light because my other one is about 48 inches. Now, don't get me wrong, I use every inch of grow lights whenever I start, but starting out small and things, just wanted to kind of see what I was doing. I thought, well, I'm going to use the small one this year, and so we have planted these. These are cabbage plants, and as you can tell, they are very great looking cabbage plants. Now, they have grown under this grow light completely, 100%. Let me tell you a thing. Now, that's one thing about gardening. We learn by our mistakes. We learn by our mistakes. And for years, you know, I would plant seeds, you know, in a container, and I would take them over there to the windowsill, you know, and sometimes I would put a cover on them. I remember as a teenager, I'd take maybe something like saran wrap and cover the top of them and place them into the windowsill. Well, guess what? They would sprout. But when they would sprout, they would get long and skinny. Now that's what gardeners would call our plants would get, our seedlings would get leggy. And they just didn't look good, and they were spindly, and they were not anything that you wanted at all. Well, guess what I have learned? That whenever I am planting seeds, I don't need to be around a window. Just like these. These have not been probably within 10 feet of an outside window. They've been stayed away. I've done that on purpose, and as you can tell, this grow light gives them everything that they need. Everything that they need. And so we have these beautiful, beautiful Bravo cabbage that is growing. Now, I have adjusted this light. Now, I will show you in a few moments on how to do that and adjusting that light and how much light that is needed here. But I just kind of wanted to show you the finished product. Now, these are growing. They're getting very large, and probably what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to remove them out of this container and place them into a larger container. That means I'm going to put some potting mix in a larger container than this so that they can continue to grow. Because what? I really don't want to plant these until, I don't know, let's say February 21st, 3 weeks from today. I want to hold off on that, but yet I don't want to stunt their growth. And so I'm going to be working with them. I'm going to be hardening them off, which means they have been living in a perfect 70-degree weather temperature, 70-degree temperature. And so I'm going to take them outside for a couple of hours whenever, say a day that it gets in the 50s, all right? I definitely probably, in hardening them off, I don't want to put them out there like today. Even though cabbage can withstand temperatures down to 27 degrees. But I'm going to wait on that. I'm going to let it get in the 50s maybe a day, set them out there for a couple of hours, and let them get adjusted to a drop in temperature. So that is something I'm going to be doing. But then, once they're out there, I know that they'll be able to withstand down to 27 degrees. Now, I will probably put a frost cloth over them, just for protection, just make sure that they are okay. But to me, this has given me some satisfaction. I've love seeing something green, or this is kind of more of a blue-green as we think of these cabbage plants here, but just kind of seeing something grow and watching them grow and watering them is very, very satisfying to me, but then also I'm getting ready for the gardening season. Now, you remember I said I planted those previous cabbage that we were looking at We started them on December the 30th, all right? And the reason why I started them so earlier, normally that is way earlier than I start anything. Usually right now would be the earliest, but because of the moon signs and things, as we will know that the moon has phases. You know, there's a full moon, and you know, here a few nights ago, I mean, you didn't need a light outside because there was just so much moonlight that was going on. Well, the old veteran gardeners, they would plant by the signs of the moon. And as we will know, any veteran gardener that planted by the moon, they always like to plant after the first quarter of the moon. After the first quarter of the moon, because the moon is waxing, as we talked about, waxing and waning. And that time from the first quarter to the full moon is a perfect time to plant above ground crops because of the light that is coming from the moon at nighttime. Now, whenever we get into a full moon and getting into a new moon, you've got your underground crops that do well, such as potatoes and carrots and radishes and beets and all of those things. And so a lot of your old time gardeners, they would want to see that first quarter of the moon. Well, guess what? The first quarter of the moon was around December 29th and 28th. And then I don't have my calendar. I'll have my calendar in front of me in here in just a few minutes. I think for January, it was around the 21st. And so I wanted to plant again to get a better germination, sprouting that of seed. Now, as you noticed here, these are just a few days old. They have sprouted. They have been placed under the grow light as well. Now, notice some of these on this back row, you can see there's just a single cabbage plant that is growing, and on this back row I only planted one seed. But as you see, I am missing a seed here. I am missing a seed here. But then on this front row, like these right here, they have had two seeds planted. And in fact, there were two seeds planted on all these. There's a reason for that. You see, I have a skip here. I do not have a seed that did not come up. So guess what? I have an empty peat pot here. So I have these two, and you say, well, what are you going to do now? Are you going to allow those two to grow? No, I'm going to trim them back. All right? And in trimming them back, I'm just going to take a pair of scissors, and I'm going to look at whatever I think is the best one, and I'm going to leave the best one, but then I'm also going to cut the one that needs to be removed. And so in doing so, I'm just going to go through there and snip out one from each, because I don't need two. I just need one. All right. You say, well, couldn't you just take that apart? Well, cabbage roots are pretty sensitive, and probably I would disturb more than I would gain by doing so. So now as you see, I have removed the extras that were there. Well, so now we have one plant growing in each peat pellet. That's what these are called, peat pellets, as we see here. Here's an example of what one looked like before we started, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a moment, just to kind of give you an idea. But they are now growing in this peat pellet. And so we have this, and so it's growing here. Well, now, as we move over here, we have some peat pellets. They look just like this morning, and then I put hot water in here twice. I put hot water in there the first time, and then this peat pellet absorbed all of that hot water, so then I had to go back a second time and put the second one in there, second filling of water, so that there would be enough water. All right, so I now have, as these is 12 peat pellets in each container here. Right now, I don't have to be on a large capacity, and probably most of you will not be in a large capacity either. And so as we're looking at this, you can start small. I encourage anyone, start small. Get comfortable, get used to some things, and like I say, a container holding 12 for many will take care of all of their gardening needs. And then also, you always raise extra, and that's always one of the things that I enjoy doing. Not only do I enjoy planting seed, but I also like giving plants away. And so I will give plants away to that of my neighbor and that of my friends and things. And so we will do that. But we're going to give you a demonstration of this today, right now. And so I'm probably going to turn that this way. That would probably work a little bit better in working. And then, as you see here, I have these two containers. Now, they're coffee containers. As you can see, they're Maxwell House. But I have found them to be very useful for other things. We were talking earlier to the producer about, using these for painting and some other things there. But I use these for my seeds. And as I have labeled this one 2020 seeds and older seeds. And so in here I've got seeds that are left over from last year. I keep these out on the shelf. Sometimes I put them in the refrigerator to make sure so the seed stay viable. But since it's only last year's seed, most of the time they're usually just sitting around somewhere. So for 2021, remember I've already got some of my seed orders in for growing of that of the vegetables. And so we're going to be doing that. And so here I've already got some tomato seed in here. I've got cucumber seed in here. I've got squash seed in here. I've got okra seed in here. And if you're like me, I've got to keep them in a particular place. All right. Of course, I'm not the normal gardener. I plant so many different kinds and things, and so we have a lot that is a lot of things I am planting. But we're going to go into these peat pellets, and the first thing that I do after they have soaked and after they are ready to go, I will take a pencil and I will go into the center of the peat pellet. I'll go into the center of the peat pellet. Now this is making a hole for me to drop my seed into, all right? Making a seed. And also one thing that I like about soaking these peat pellets, you already got your moisture base there, all right? You don't have to worry about your moisture. Well, what am I going to plant? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to plant. I'm going to plant some Rutgers tomatoes. Rutgers tomatoes, all right? We'll just start that. You say, oh man, you're thinking about starting early. Yes, I'm going to start early here. And so I'm going to put this out here and put this on this paper towel for now. And then I'm just going to pour a few seeds on this paper towel, which that's more than enough, more than enough. Well, it might not be, okay? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these tweezers because these seed are very small. And I'm going to pick them up. Whoop, that jumped away. They kind of remind you of a flea jumping around. And then I'm going to place that in that peat, all right? Remember, you plant more than one seed because not every seed is going to come up. And so I'm going to do that to each one, planting more than one seed. All right, that time I got 2 seed. I like the paper towel, number 1. The paper towel is white, but then also the seed will not be jumping around as much as if it had been a hard surface like this table. Like I said, I'm going 2 seed at a time. Now we'll do this second row. And if they kind of jump around, you just place them down there. And if I accidentally get 3 seed in there, it's no biggie because I will be pruning them. All right. One that got away from me will be 1. And let's see here. There's the last one. Take that away. So 24 seeds. All right, now what do you do? Well, to make sure, I take that pencil that I made the hole with and I just kind of dig around in the word, for the lack of a better word, because they don't need a whole lot to be covered very, very deep. And so I will work that down in there. Maybe I'll tilt this up a little bit to where you can see. Just kind of disturb that in there and be able to cover that seed. All right. Covering the seeds up. Just like say, I'm just taking that peat and moving it around. The pencil works a whole lot better than you trying to do it with your finger. You can kind of see what's going on. I mean, you could use the tweezers as well if you want to do that. Okay, all right. We've covered all these seeds. I go back and look, because sometimes you miss one that you see exposed. And so you do that. Now, I'm going to take this over to the grow light and show you how we adjust the grow light for this. Okay, we are back here at the grow light table. And now remember, we've talked about these and how they've been doing pretty well. I've raised this up to kind of accommodate them a little bit. I'm going to move them out of the way. And as you see, I have placed the ones that we just planted. These are the Rutgers. But then also here's these ones that were planted on January the 22nd. I'm going to put them there. Now I'm going to show you of what you can do on this light. Now you say, well, it looks like to me it's all right. But I like to start things out. And let me get the adjustment here. And let's see if it'll cooperate with me. Let's see, there we go. It'll take just a second to get things the way that I want it. All right. All right. Now, do you see how close I have that light? Okay. I will keep that until it sprouts, and probably it's not even bad for these plants right here that are already up. I will leave that light because they need the light, all right? Why do I have it that close? Because I want to have plants like this, and so they need light. Now, hey, I'll leave this on 24/7 for 2 weeks, all right? Now, as they get a little bit bigger than this, I will take them out from the grow light overnight. Like, for instance, a lot of times they'll need watering. Now, I will share with you that whenever you do this, be sure and check the moisture, because this light is going to pull the moisture out of these peat pellets. And so you'll need to water. But whenever these get up like this, like in the evening, I'll take them and I'll water them, and I'll just lay them off to the side beside the sink. And then the next day, go in, put them back under the light so that they'll have, full darkness at night. Plus also, at this particular point, I'm wanting to slow these down a little bit because, like I said, I'm wanting to transplant them around, the 21st, that of February. But for right now, for a couple of weeks, I'll leave them just like this. And then whenever I think they need to be adjusted, here's what I love about these grow lights. They're real easy to adjust, and you just start adjusting and bringing them back up, and it will work out great. The last thing that we want to share with you today is what I look in regards to the weather. The weather plays a very, very important part in that of gardening. And really sometimes I want to see what the weather is for today. I want to see what the weather is going to be the next 2 or 3 days, or even up to the next week. And there's various things that I'm going to be looking at. Now, of course, we can look at our local news and various things and gather the weather. But then there's sometimes there's some information that I am wanting to learn. And we have, if you have internet and you have a computer, most of us have a computer or we have a smartphone, and we can look up all kinds of information. And so now I'm going to show you something that I use quite regularly, and it is found on the University of Kentucky Ag Weather. University of Kentucky Ag Weather. And I'm just going to kind of click in on this and just kind of show you. I've already typed this in on my Google search just to kind of show you what it is. And so I've typed in University of Kentucky Ag Weather, and then I'm going to enter that. And it's going to come up UK Ag Weather Center. All right, this is University of Kentucky, and so I'm going to come over here and click on that, and then you see this is through our extension. All right, you got the UK Ag Weather Center. Now notice we have the Commonwealth that is before us, and you see 120 counties that are listed in here, and so we're going to go down here to Marshall County. And I am going to click, see it comes up, types in Marshall, shows up. I'm going to click on Marshall. All right, what I'm showing you here is the University of Kentucky. It is the Agricultural Lawn and Garden Forecast Outlook. All right, and it gives briefly just a short summary. It's talking about today, the lows is 32, the high is 39, and the wind speed, as you well know, it's been very, very windy. Last night was just tremendous winds, gives us the wind speed. But then also as you scroll down, and you go over here and you're going to scroll down to see more information, talks about humidity, the dew point, precipitation, the probability of that. It gives you a 7-day graph for heat index for livestock and things. But then here is where I want to look. I want to look on the 7-day extended forecast. First off, first thing I'm looking at is the time. Notice it's noon today. Give me 3 p.m., 6 p.m., 9 p.m., midnight. And then that goes through giving these increments of time of when these temperatures are going to be happening. Then there's the temperature. The temperature today at noon is going to be 36. All right, I'm going to look tonight at 9 p.m. It's going to be 31. At midnight, it's going to be 29 degrees. And so I'm going to look at that and see what the temperatures, what they are projecting for that of the temperatures. Then it talks about the clouds, how cloudy it's going to be. All right, and then also something that I'm always looking for is wind speed. Looking on how great the wind is. Like today, we've got a lot of wind, 15, 16 miles an hour. But if I look down here to Wednesday, and it's one mile an hour, which basically that's no wind, which that's hard for in West Kentucky anymore. We always have at least 4 or 5 mile an hour winds. But then I come down here and I am looking for precipitation. This is where rain/snow right now. Now, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I do not see any precipitation at all. 0, 0, 0. All right. Then I'm looking at that because, I want to see how much it's going to rain, because it may say it's going to rain a ½ inch, 2 or 3 inches. I want to know the amounts that they are projecting of what that we are looking at. And so we see here, is there any snow? No. There's nothing on here. Is there any rain? No, there is no rain at all. Spray conditions. Well, today would be a very, very poor condition to spray outside. Like, there's days you're going to be spraying herbicides and different things in the garden. Be a bad day because you got 16, 17 mile an hour winds. But end of the week, it's good, good, good. You see all these things, and this is very helpful. And then I'm going to scroll down here to the end of the week. The end of the week. And like I say, for the rest of the week, we do not see any rain or snow that is on our radar here in West Kentucky. So now there is a chance of snow, looks like on Friday at 7 a.m. They are saying here there is a chance, Also on Saturday at 7 p.m., a chance, slight chance. Now, check this often because sometimes it changes throughout the day. Fronts change and various things, so just don't look at it on Monday and look at it for the rest of the week. I will check this at least once daily, probably twice daily. I'll check on it in the morning and then I will check on it in the evening just to see about growing conditions from what I'm looking at. Is there a shower of rain? Is it just going to be 1/10, which would barely give a spider a good bath, or are we looking at an inch of rain? Okay, and I can plan that. I can work around those things. But this is a tool, and this is free. And I like watching this and studying this and seeing this information. And so I wanted to share this gardening tool with you today. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our gardening segment for that of today. I have my planters here, and I encourage you. Now, I'm old school. The older I get, the more old school that I realize that I am. And so I've got this gardening planter, and as soon as we are finished with today, I'm going to go and I'm going to write down what we have done here today, especially with those Rutger tomatoes that I've planted them here today on that of February the 1st. And so we're going to be recording that. And but then also, I encourage you, if you do like the old school way, go buy a planter. Now this one here is one that I like because it does a lot of things that I want. I found another one. My wife bought me another one because she knows that I like planters. This one gives the moon signs, and so I will look at this one for that of the moon signs. But if you're tech savvy, I'm working with some gardening planner apps, and maybe next time we can talk a little bit more about a gardening planner app, getting just to see what it is. And there's a wealth of information on gardening planner apps if you want to use your smartphone or if you want to use your laptop like I used earlier there. So we'll probably be sharing a little bit more about that if you would like to use that rather than the old hard copy. Of course, like I say, I'm old school. I like the old hard copy I can pick up and look at. Well, we look forward to 2021. We love being back with you and bringing you more gardening information. Take care. God bless.